Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Monday, October 13th. Happy Monday, everyone. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. It is 5:56 right now. We got market open in about 30 minutes. Our first entry for the day is going to be here at 6 o'clock. It's going to be against momentum. Ideally, we would like to take a buy. So I'm going to think twice about this entry here because it looks like it's probably going to be a sell. But I mean, we'll see what happens here. If we get a sell momentum here, then, possibly swing back for a buy. From the data over here, it shows that it wins about 85.71% of the time for buys. For sells here, it wins 62.50. So it's still pretty good for sells, but the probabilities for the buys are a lot higher. So I'm going to be looking to see if we can get the opportunity right here. I'm hoping the sell signal closes because if that's the case, I'll be looking for this to possibly go to the upside. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna be a little cautious. If anything, I might wait for the first one and then go for the second one here because there's one at 6 o'clock, then one at 6:01. They're both um, they're both gonna be better off as buys, so I'm gonna be waiting for that here. But again, we'll kind of see how this ends up playing through. So hey, morning guys. Let's see what's here so far. Morning Karen, morning Ben, morning Søren, morning Will, morning Blanca, morning guys. Yeah, so we'll be looking for this here. All right, perfect. So it looks like it is going to be a buy right here. So we'll see what happens here in a few. We got a few minutes until that happens. I think someone asked if I could record this. Let me see if I could record this here. All right, there we go. So, all right. Glenn is asking, isn't today a holiday? Today is Columbus Day. I mean, it used to be a big holiday. It's not really a holiday anymore. It's uh, it's a holiday, but it's not a federal holiday. So the only market that's closed today is the bond market. Everything else is open. Yeah, today used to be a big holiday. I used to like Columbus Day because my birthday is on the 8th, so like we used to have school off on the following Monday, so I'd always have a long weekend for my birthday week. But when as a kid, but it's not considered a federal holiday anymore. So yeah, the bond market's closed, but everything else is open. So futures, equities, everything else is pretty much open. Hey Lila, morning. All right, guys, we got this entry coming up right here in about a minute 30. Drew said might be a dumb question, but when you enter on a time candle, do you enter on the close of the candle or the open of the next one? Just want to make sure I get the stop and PT set right. I usually go as soon as it closes. So I look at the countdown over here, Drew. It's right here on the side right here. So the entry is at 6 o'clock. It's not going to be on the close of this candle, but on the next one. So when this countdown goes to the next minute, when it drops down like right here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, when it goes down to like 0, then I enter the position. So it's like a split between the following candle and the prior. Okay, we're starting to get like some really, really crazy volatility right here, guys. I think I might sit out of the 6 o'clock entry, guys, personally. I think I'm going to sit out of it because look at this huge candle right here. I don't know what's happening. There might be something happening behind the scenes, like what happened last week, but this candle was extremely large. So if you guys want to take this entry at 6, I mean, feel free, go ahead and take it. I'm going to wait like one more minute because this candle right here is huge compared to everything else. This is almost a 60-point candle. Our stop loss is 20 points, so this is going to be very tricky. Again, if you guys want to take it, feel free. I try to stay away from manipulation, right? This is a manipulated candle, of course. This candle is huge. So personally, I think I'm going to sit out of this one right now. I might wait for the next one, but I'm going to sit out of this one specifically. If you guys want to take it, feel free. The candle is closing in about 5 seconds. So if you guys want to take it, I'll follow it for you guys, but I just don't like how this candle here is so big. There you go. So this trade's currently running right now. It's for a buy. It actually lines up perfectly with what we were looking for. So the entry right there at the 6 o'clock was a buy right there. It's starting to kind of bounce around a little bit. But like I said, whenever you're taking these algo entries, you want to stay away from manipulated times, right? Like right now, this isn't typically a manipulated time, but this is kind of what happened yesterday too. The trade is running in profit. It's almost there. It's looking great actually. So it's correcting back up off this huge red candle right here. And it looks like price is pushing up higher. Yeah, again, I just don't want to be caught up in this move here, this manipulated push. I'm going to stay out of this position completely. I'm going to wait until maybe the 7 o'clock one a little later. If you guys want to get in at the next one, so the 6 o'clock is running. The 6:01 is currently going to be coming up right now, right after it. Okay, so the next trade is currently running. They're both running alongside each other. So you got the 6 o'clock and 6:01 entry. I was really looking to take this trade today, but like I said, this candle kind of came out of nowhere, this big red one, and I didn't want to risk it. So if you guys want to take it, this trade's still currently running the 6 o'clock one. But like I said, when you guys are taking these algo entries, you want to stay away from manipulated times or manipulated market movements. I think this red candle here again is what I consider a manipulated candle because everything here is so small, right? You look at the volume, pretty slow, and then all of a sudden we have a 60 to 70 point candle right here. This red one was huge, 60 point candle right there. So it looks like the 6 o'clock trade did hit. If you guys took that, great work. If you guys didn't take it, it's completely fine. I'm gonna wait for the next one. I'm gonna wait for the next one here. Yeah, Talanji said, yeah, we can't treat today's entries like previous weeks with all of the manipulation. Yeah, exactly. It's better to be safe than sorry, guys. I'm not looking to take anything a little too risky here. So the first trade at 6 o'clock one, there goes the first one. That was my target entry. Unfortunately, I skipped out on it. You can see right here a full TP on it. Also, the one that followed it right after, also another full TP. So depending, well, it doesn't really matter which one, but if you took the 6 o'clock or 6:01, they both hit full TP right there. So great work to you guys who caught that trade there. Looks like the 6:01 trade got really close to stop loss though. Really, really close to stop loss. So let's just move this over real quick. Yeah, if you took that 6:01 entry, it got kind of close to it. It pulled back pretty close to the stop loss right there, 20 points, and then it shot all the way back up. The 6:01 entry is still actually running right now. So you got the 6:01 entry that's currently still running. But the 6:06 o'clock entry did hit full TP right there. So let's go back to my list of entries and let's put the tally over here real quick. So today's algo entries. So 6 o'clock was a win plus 2R. So total is currently up one win plus 2R. Currently one win right there for 6 o'clock. I haven't taken anything else. There was another entry earlier at 5:07, I believe. But it didn't line up with the criteria. I think the criteria was for a buy and it came up for a sell. So that probably would have been skipped. If you guys are part of the Discord, I did post this list of trades here. Um, So you guys have to be in the premium to get this. If you're on the Discord, go to premium. I'll go right here. And if you're in the premium, I posted all the trades here last night. So every single trade that we're looking at today was already identified. I already identified a direction. I gave the probabilities of the direction of the trade, and they're all kind of currently running right now. So we had the 6 o'clock right here, which I posted last night. It hit full TP right there for 40 points. The 6:01 trade is currently still running. There's another one coming up at 6:11. And there's another one at 6:12. The problem with the 6:11 and 6:12 entries is that they come up too close to market open. So they're not exactly going to be, I mean, I don't know if I'll even look to take those because I don't want to hold it into market open. We talked about this earlier. The market tends to be manipulated on open. So you don't want to trade around manipulated times. You want to trade when the market's moving smoothly, and you want to be trading when market's going with flow of market. Right now, it's not really going with the flow market. It's kind of going into this chop. And once it enters 6:30, when market opens up, it's going to be very, very tricky. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Let's see. Blanco said, will there be volume? Look at the 10-minute, not bad at all. Yeah, so that's the one thing too, Blanco. I looked at the candles last night. So last night when I was putting this list together, I was looking at the candles. The volatility was actually really high during like Asia session, like late at night right here. The volatility was a little too high. It was higher than it ever is on a Sunday. Usually it's never this volatile. Obviously a lot of people are trying to get into plays after the big drop last week. Um, that's going to be the problem, right? Because everybody's expecting there to be a correction. So if everybody here is looking for a buy, it's going to be very tricky because it's not going to be as easy to just hop into a buy and let it hit, right? Um, so we'll kind of see where it ends up taking us. But again, the next entry that I'm looking to take is I was hoping to get in right here at 611, but again, we're going to be really close to market open at 6:30, so I might have to wait until 7 o'clock. We got a couple other entries over here. So we got entries over here at 711. This over here is one of my target entries. It has a 66.67% win ratio. It has 50% wins on the buys, 72.73% on the sells. It won all three of the previous Mondays. So if I do look to take a trade, it'll probably be this one at 711. It's going to be against momentum and it has a pretty nice win ratio. There's one at 711 and there's one right here at 716. 716 is going to be a bigger move. It's going to be 80-point target. So the 711 one is 40 points. The 716 is going to be 80 points. And then we have another one later today at 742 and at 751. So there's a lot of opportunities here. You guys don't have to get in right now pre-market. If you want to get in, feel free, but you will have a lot of different opportunities later to get into the position. So I'm going to just mark these times up for a little later. 711, 714, 742, 743. There's a lot of different opportunities that are going to come up later today. So again, depending on how patient you guys want to be, the 601 entry is still running. So if you guys are looking at that one, or if you guys are in that position, it's still currently running right now. As you can see, the volatility here is pretty low. This is what happened to us last week, right? If you guys remember the 6 o'clock entry we took last week on Friday, this thing pretty much went sideways around entry point for like, maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And then at 6:30, it spiked to the target. So yeah, the second entry is still currently running right now. First one right there hit, and then the second one is currently running alongside it. I'll just put this right here so that you guys can follow it for those of you who are looking to take it. It's currently in profit right now. As you can see, it's kind of just consolidating and ranging within this middle point. Let's take a look at the overall trend real quick to give you guys an idea of what the market's looking like on the bigger picture. So the 1 minute over here is currently neutral. You can see prices in between the pivots. The trend meter's green, pivots are going sideways. It's more of a bullish neutral, but more so on the neutral side. Over here on the 5 minute, price is also neutral. It's in between the pivots. The trend meter's red, pivots are going sideways. So, and the same with the 15 minute over here. So if you look across the board, I mean, the 15 minute looks pretty bad to be honest. Like you can see over here, there's not very much direction. The 15 minutes just kind of been going back and forth since market has opened. A lot of choppiness right here. This kind of shows you the bigger picture of like where market's going. Not really much happening right here, right? So on the lower time frames, you can see here across the board, it's pretty much going sideways. It's a sideways move. On the higher time frames, it's going sideways as well, right? So on the 30 minute right here, it's going sideways. The 1 hour right here, price is going sideways. And on the 4 hour price is pretty much flat. So it looks like there was some volume here, but it's not enough to like really push market. If you look over here on the 30 minute, it shows you that there hasn't been much movement here, right? If you look at this like little area right here, um, so this is basically where market opened up. This is a 30 minute time frame. Market opened up right here for the weekend or from the weekend. And you can see market has not gone anywhere. So I'm really curious to see what happens when the market actually opens up at 6:30. I'm curious to see, you know, the the direction because I think there's going to be a big manipulated spike here on open at 6:30. I think there's going to be a big manipulated spike, of course, because everyone's going to jump in from what happened last week, right? We had this big slump over here, and then everybody's looking for that correction back up. Thing is, the market's not going to make that easy. They're not just going to spike price all the way back up, right? They might give you some choppiness back and forth before price does go up. So we'll see what happens here. All right. So other than that, we'll kind of see what happens here as price continues to move along. But this is just a outside look into the market. So pretty much consolidating, going sideways for the most part on lower time frames. Same on the higher time frames. We'll probably get a bias once the market actually opens up, though. So once the market opens up, we'll get some more volatility. Price will kind of move to one direction or the other, or it might just stay in a chop. But we'll kind of see what happens here when we get to that point. Back over here on the main chart, so looking over at the market structure, it's pretty mixed. You can see down here the 1 minute's bearish, 5 minutes bullish, 15 minutes bearish, 30 minutes bearish, 1 hour is bullish, and the 4 hour is neutral. So they're mixed. There's not one direction here, and they're kind of just going sideways. Let's see. Talanji said the 609 is in line with the 601. 610 predicts 90 points. That's interesting. Yeah, so let's go over here real quick and look at my algo. So the algo over here, they're all in line right now. Pretty much all of the older other entries right here, the 609, the 610, the 611, etc. These are all going the same direction of where price is currently going right now. So these are all anticipating that price will push up, 40, 70, 80, etc. points, a lot of points there. The 601 entry is still running right now. It's running in profit. It's almost on its way to target. So let's just zoom in a little bit. I mean, it's looking pretty decent so far. Here are all my algo entries again. It's on its way up. It's a few points away from getting to that target point, about 20 points away. So I do think this will hit. I mean, this might take some time. Again, this is the 611 entry. This is the one that we were looking to maybe take. But like I said, it's getting a little too close to market open. So I don't really want to get into anything this late. But we do have another entry right here currently running. We have a lot of entries going in the same direction. So if you guys wanted to kind of play in the market here, pre-market, every entry here is pretty much pushing in its direction. The algo identified a buy pretty much across the board. So I mean, the trades are looking good so far. It's just a matter of whether this is going to hit before market opens up or if it's going to have that big push to the upside once market opens up. There's a lot of entries here. There's 4 entries currently running alongside each other to the upside. Yeah, there's 4 buys right here. I'm not in any of them because I mean I was really tempted to take this one over here at 6 o'clock, but I did it because this was like such an outlier of a candle. It's a 60, 70 point candle right here. And then price is now correcting back to the upside. So we'll see. Talanji's in it. He just moved his stop loss and profit at 20 points. Nice work, Talanji. The Talanji's guaranteed he's guaranteed 20 points. He's aiming for the 40. So solid work right there. Let's see. David said I took the pre-market 439, 100% win rate. It hit the full 40 points. Take profit in 3 minutes, zero drawdown. Definitely going to look for it again tomorrow. Nice work, David. I saw that entry too. I was really tempted to get into that one earlier this morning. There's another one at 508. The thing is, the trade didn't come up. I mean, it came up opposite. We were looking for a buy. It came up for a sell. So what happened is it came down 20 points and then it shot straight to the moon. So here's the entry right here, actually. So 508 right here, right? I would have taken it if it was a buy, but it was a sell. So, if we took the buy here and we waited for it, this thing went straight up, no drawdown. So huge thanks to David over here because David's the one that actually introduced to us, uh, using the criteria at looking at the win ratio for buys and sells. So this over here, there's literally no drawdown. It's like right to the tip. Same with the 6 o'clock entry right here, right? This is crazy how accurate the algo is. I think in the future, maybe I'll be able to take it, but I think because of what's been happening lately in the market, I didn't really want to get caught up in this market manipulation, of course, right? Because you guys saw what happened last week. This was crazy when it just dumped like 500 points out of nowhere just because Trump tweeted or posted on Truth Social. Like I just don't want to be caught up in that, especially because we're coming back from the weekend. It's a tricky type of market to get into. But uh all in all, we'll follow this and we'll kind of see where price ends up going. Again, there's a 4 entries basically running alongside each other right here at 6 o'clock. I would have loved to take the 6 o'clock entry, but I'm playing it safe. It's early in the week, guys. It's Monday, so there's no need to force any trades. You got a whole week ahead of you. There's going to be more entries. So if you don't feel confident about getting into something, just hold off on it. There's no need to jump into every single trade today. So I'm basically waiting until like 7:11 over here for this entry. We'll kind of see what happens there. Let's see. Camo said, just told my group we have moved this heavy on a holiday. Best to sit out today or trade MYM because these candles are huge. Yeah, exactly, Camo. The thing is, the algo's still been pretty on point, even though we have this market manipulation. I mean, the algo is still hitting. Like, it's literally hitting. So it's crazy how like accurate the data is here. Um, but we'll see. We'll kind of see what happens here. So Solange said if it's MPS prints, he's moving his TP to 90. Perfect. Yeah, because I do think it'll shoot up, right, as we get closer to market open, Solange. So the 601 trade is still currently running. It's almost at its target. The 6 o'clock trade already hit 40 points. The 601 trade is still currently running. But like we just said earlier, there's four trades running in the same direction. So this will probably keep pushing higher. I mean, it's a matter of time, right? Market's going to open up in like 13 minutes. So we'll see. We'll know in the next 13 minutes if this spikes up or if it spikes down. Hey, what's up, CJ? CJ said, had to step away for a moment. Why didn't you take the last entry again? Which one are you talking about, CJ? Because there's like four entries here. Not sure which one you're referring to. The initial entry was a 6 o'clock one. I think this one might be the one you're talking about. This one is the one that was on my target entry list. The reason why I didn't take this one right here was because the candle, the entry candle was like huge. Every candle here was moving about like 10 points or less, and all of a sudden we had a 60 to 70 point candle right here. This thing just spiked down. So I was worried that there was going to be market manipulation like there was last week. Yes, last week we had that 50 point dump out of nowhere. Thing is, I don't know what Trump's posting. I got to download his Truth Social app because that's where he posted about the China tariffs last week. A lot of talk has been going around about uh, the taco trades. So that's why the market today might be highly manipulated because so Trump did post, if you guys followed, Trump has had updates about what he said about China, right? So basically, he said he was going to put a 100% tariff on China, and then yes, last night he said he doesn't want to give them a 100% tariff. Like he's basically pulling back on what he said he was going to do. He It's the taco trade, right? Like he's kind of pulling back on what he said last week. Last week he said he was going to put a 100% tariff on China. The market dropped like 500 points. Bitcoin and cryptos pretty much crashed super heavy. Um, and then he basically said, "Oh, I'm just kidding." That's the Trump basically said. He's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding. Well, we don't want to put tariffs on China." And then market kind of corrected back up. So it's tricky. You're kind of like when you're trading today, you have to trade between a fine line of like whatever Trump's going to say. So you can see, okay, there's a couple updates. It says, those moves come after Trump's Truth Social post on Sunday suggesting to investors that the president may not follow through with his threat to post massive increased tariffs on China. So he basically went back on what he said last week, and it's tricky because some people are going to bet one way and other people are going to bet the other way. So. You just gotta be up to date with what's going on. So the 611 trade, I didn't take it because it's too close to open, CJ. I already anticipated this trade to run for maybe like 20 or 30 minutes. The market's opening up in about 13, so it's not the type of entry that I'd be looking to get into because I don't want to hold on to the position until open. I want it to hit before. Yeah, Alad said, Sean, let the members know that a fake Cody Kai account is reaching out to users. Guys, just so another reminder, I'm never gonna message you guys first, right? There's a fake account. You guys will see. Like David over here, he mentioned this. He had a friend request from like four different Cody Kais. Just keep in mind, guys, that I'm probably never gonna message you guys first. The only time I'll message you first is if I'm looking to confirm your information for your account. I'm never gonna message you to ask you how your trading is doing. I'm never gonna message you to ask you how your weekend is. I'm not gonna ask you what strategy you're using or if you need help trading. The thing is, I don't even really teach trading anymore. So just keep that in mind because there's always messages that go out. Like for example, like right here, this is a fake account, right? It says, glad to have you here. I was having a random check on my subscribers. I never have a random check on you guys. So just keep that in mind. I'm never going to message you first. Whenever you guys get a message from someone that you might think is me, click on their username and look at their username here. Make sure it says Cody Kai Trades. No spaces, no numbers, no dashes, none of that stuff. It just says Cody Kai Trades. Straight up, just Cody Kai Trades. Um, and you guys will know that it's not me. So yeah, thanks a lot for the heads up on that. Just keep in mind there's a lot of scammers out there. Thing is, I'll never ask you guys for crypto. I'll never ask you guys for money. I'll never ask you guys for anything. If you guys ever sign up for anything, only sign up on the website, right? The website's codykaitrades.com. Only go to this website. Don't send any Bitcoin. Don't send anything to anybody that you might think is me, because I'll never ask you for Bitcoin. I'll never ask you for your specifics and stuff like that. All right, so we got market opening up in about 9 minutes, guys. So let's do another full analysis, or let's do it in a few. Let's do it once the market opens up. The 601 entry is still running. It's still pretty much going back and forth. What I'm going to do right here, right now, is I'm going to mark up liquidity. Going to be marking up liquidity over here. Let's see. AS is asking, are we expecting motion on the bank holiday today? Today's not. It's not a real holiday. It used to be a real holiday, like back in the day, like maybe like 10 years ago or 20 years ago when I was a kid. Um, yeah, Columbus Day isn't. It's not a real holiday anymore. It used to be, but now it's just a. It's an observed holiday. Like banks are open today. The only thing that's closed is the bonds market. So the bonds market's closed, but everything else is open. Equities is open, futures is open, forex is open, currency is open. Everything's pretty much open except for the bonds market. So I'm expecting volatility to uh to be moving today. Yeah, it's weird how like the government kind of picks and chooses what's a holiday and what isn't. They kind of have to flip things around, right? Because new holidays come around, like Juneteenth is a holiday now. That wasn't a holiday a long time ago. Um, Things are just different now, right? I feel like with Columbus Day, it used to be a holiday until people thought that it was offensive, right? Because I mean, I don't know, everyone has their own opinion, but people think that Christopher Columbus was what is it called? Basically, they're saying he stole land. Well, which he did, of course, He basically sailed around and identified the US and stuff. But yeah, if you want to go deep into Christopher Columbus, you guys can. But it's just a lot of things that meant something to people in the past don't mean the same today. But yeah, just long story short, today is not a normal holiday. It's an old holiday that is now considered just observed. And the thing is, the crazy thing with Trump is that he's saying that we have too many holidays, which I kind of think we do in a sense. Us as traders, we don't really like holidays because we want to trade pretty much every day. But a normal person who works a 9 to 5, of course, they like holidays because they get the day off. But we do have a holiday almost every month, basically. All right, I'm marking up liquidity over here, guys. I'm going down to the 10 minute. But yeah, when it comes down to like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Black Friday, all that stuff, I'm all for the holidays, but I do wish that we could trade more, right? Especially because like the market's closed for like a pretty, or not closed, but the market's pretty much dead for a good period of the good chunk of the end of the year with with everything. Anyways, guys, I'm not in any positions right now. If you guys have been following the positions for the day, there's a couple of positions here we're running. These 611 entries didn't play through. I'm kind of glad that we didn't take those entries, like I mentioned, because we are getting close to market open here. The only one that I was really looking to take here would be the ones that say target entry, which would have been this one right here, the 6 o'clock, and then possibly the 601, but I wouldn't overlap the entries. The main one I was looking to take here would be the 6 o'clock entry. The 601 entry is still currently running, but I'm not in that one. I mean, I didn't get into either of them really. The next one I'll be looking to take would be later at 7-Eleven. So let me just put those stats in here real quick. Putting the stats over here. Right. So next entry right here is going to be at 711. So the entry right here at 711, it has a 66.67% probability of it hitting. Looking at the trade analysis for that, it's a 50% probability for longs, 72.73% for shorts. Looking at the entries for this, it's pretty much won every previous last Monday. So like right here on the 6th, it won. On the 29th it won, and on the 22nd it won. So this intro here at 711, it's looking pretty decent, but I'd probably be looking to take it for a sell. So we'll kind of see what happens when market opens up, like what happens here with the market movement, but we'll kind of follow through and see where this pushes around too. All right, so the 601 entry over here did not play through. I think you probably got out of that to launch. Good thing you moved your stop loss and profit. Good thing you moved your stop loss and profit on that one. Um, All right, so again, the only entry that I was looking to take today was gonna be this one at 6 o'clock. The reason why I skipped out on it was because of this huge red candle. Like I said, I'm being a little more cautious today because of what happened last week. We had that big drop, about 500 points or so. We'll pull up the charts from last week. So basically over here on the 4 hour time frame, we had these huge spikes to the downside right here. This was last week on Friday when we were trading. This thing dumped, actually it dumped more. It dumped 1,411 points. When we were watching it, it dumped 500 points, but it actually dumped in total 1,411 points. So with that big manipulation to the downside, obviously, when market opens up today, everyone thinks price is going to crack back up. That's probably not going to be the case where it's going to be a straight push to the upside. It's probably going to be some back and forth as it makes its way up. But we'll kind of see what happens here. I mean, I don't really care what's going to happen here for the most part because I'm basing all my trades off the algo. So I don't really have a I don't really have an opinion on what's going to happen. I'm just going to go with what comes up and what shows up in the market. All right, so looking over here at this is going to be the breakout for today. If you guys are looking to take the breakout, I think the settings over here 10 minute. So the breakout right now, momentum is currently bullish actually. So momentum is bullish. Breakout for today is gonna be a buy if you're taking the breakout on open. Depending on like where your target TP stop loss is, you can use a 50-50, you can use a 40-20, you can use an 80-40, depending on like what your probabilities would be for this entry here. Not in the position, but if you guys want to take it, market's gonna open up in about 30 seconds. So the momentum here is bullish. So if you guys are looking to take the entry here for breakout on open, it is going to be a buy. Market's going to open up shortly in about 20 seconds. Sam said, hi, worried about Trump's taco towards Trump's tariffs causing volatility. Yeah, same here, Sam. 100%. I'm also worried about that too. Blanco said, I hate these market open entries, but it has to be taken even if it takes me out currently in a sell. All right, so Blanco's here in a sell. PC's asking if the banks are open today. I think most of the banks are going to be closed for the most part. There's going to be some banks that are open. So the breakout's currently running right now, guys, in profit. If you guys took that breakout on open, ARC, I know if you're here, you probably took this trade. I mean, depending on how you wanted to take it, you could have taken it for 40 points. If you want to go for the 50 is still running. But if you wanted to do 40-20, the 40-20 is right there. The 50-50 is currently running and it already hit target. So there goes the 50-50. If you wanted to go for the bigger one, guys, the 80-40, that one is still currently running. So the 50-50 just hit full TP right there. I'm pretty sure you probably hit it already, ARC, for your full TP. Yeah, I mean, it's still running right now. So entry's running right there. The 50 already pretty much pushed through. So if you're going for the 80 is still running, but if you took the 50-50 right here, the long position is right there, of course, when market opened up. And I think the 50-50 has already hit. So 50-50 is done. The 40-80 is currently still running. There you go. So the 50-50 is already pretty much done with, and I'll come back and take a look at this if it hits the 40 a little later or the 80. And there you go. The 80 came up and it's done. Damn, huge spike to the upside right there. If you guys did the 40-80, this is what Talanji and us have been discussing for the past couple of weeks. If you guys wanted to take that huge move right there, right? Talanji 80 points. So I know Talanji's been trying to get like that perfect risk to reward for the breakout. And there you go, 40-80. It's a huge move right there. 80 points for the breakout. The 50-50 hit and the 40-80 hit here as well. And Talanji got it. Nice work, Talanji. I'm catching that buy right there. So looking at the stats for the day, guys, we had this entry over here for open. So the market open entry over here hit for 80 points. I'll put this in the stats. I know some of you guys like following that. Here, I'll just take a screenshot. I think it's better to screenshot it because you guys can see the actual entry right there. I'll put it in the Discord. All right. So we got this one over here. So momentum breakout right there. Damn, this thing is skyrocketing right now. Not in anything here, but it's kind of doing what we anticipated. So here goes that breakout entry right there. You guys can see the long position right there. Took that there for a buy. All right, so again, like we said earlier, we're expecting price to push up, but you can see here the fake out, right? Price faked out, shot all the way back up. Hopefully you got out of your position right there, Blanco, because I know you said you were in a sell. I'm hoping you got out of that because this thing spiked up like over 100 points, so almost 200 points. I don't think your stop loss is wide enough to handle that right there. Solange said big ass orb. Yeah, let's take a look at that. So let's take a look at the orb real quick and see what we got. What are we working with today? Gotta turn off some of these. All right, I just want to, I got a lot of stuff here. There we go. Okay, so here's the orb, guys. If you guys are looking, I would be careful with the orb here. The orb did hit, though, it looks like. So the orb came up, broken close past it, retested, and it already shot up. So depending on like if you guys took the orb here, the orb was huge because the range here is so big. So a lot of good entries for today, guys. If you guys took the breakout on open right here, full TP for 80 points. If you took the orb right here, also full TP for 40 points. If you guys took the morning entry right here at 6 o'clock, also full TP right there for 40 points. There's one pre-market here for 40 points. The next entry that I'm looking to get into is going to be right here at 7:14 or 7:11 actually. 7:11, and there's another one right here at 7:14, it looks like. Yeah, we'll be looking around for this. Here's my algo. My algo has all the top entries here. Let me just adjust the times real quick. So let me have the times adjusted to, what time is it? 7 o'clock or 6, so 8 until 11. So I'm just adjusting my algo right now to give the best possible opportunities for entry at this time. I'm probably have to cut these into two pieces because there's just too many trades here. Let me drag this. Chart's all messy. Oops. All right, I'm gonna cut this off. There we go. All right, so it's still currently there's still some entries right here. If you're looking, the next one that's going to come up is going to be at 657. It's going to be with momentum. It's for a 100-point move. Damn, look at this big spike. So we got this huge range right now. Price is kind of it's trading a range at the moment. Liquidity here pretty much got knocked out. If you guys took the upper liquidities right here, these get knocked out. There's a sweep right here that happened at this upper liquidity. So right here off this higher high price came up, swept this liquidity, and then came right back down. Let me go and mark up opening price, which is right there. All right, so we got a lot of liquidity here, which got knocked out. I'm gonna try to clean this up as much as possible. I'll keep the sweeps available so that you guys can see where they swept at. But basically, we're just in this huge range right now when price is going back and forth. Here, let's see. I can go ahead and mark up market structure real quick, just so that you guys have an idea of like what's going on here. Um, okay, so we have, let me see, it's pretty big right now. We got this big support level right here. So this is a big support level down here. We have another support level down here at this lower low. We have another, I guess, resistance right here, turn support. And then we have an imbalance right here. We actually have two imbalances. This support lines up with an imbalance, which is right here. And there's another imbalance, which is right. There's just a lot of stuff going on the chart right now. So I'm not going to mark up the imbalances. But we do have some support levels, which are around this area. You can see price was kind of ranging below this lower point right here. Price broke above. It's starting to establish a higher area right here where price is probably going to range. Again, I don't really care about this stuff. I'm just doing this analysis for you guys specifically so that you guys have it has a visualization of like what's happening on the chart. For me, I'm going based off the algo. So I'm not really paying attention to what's happening with price action. I'm just waiting for my time of entry right here at 7-11. So at 7-11, I have a possible entry right here. I'm going to go against momentum. Uh, and ideally, I'm going to look for a sell here. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. Like I mentioned, I don't really trade off price action or technical analysis anymore. I kind of just go off the algo data. So we're trading here based off the quantitative data, which is showing me that the trade at 7-11 has a 66.67% win ratio right here. It pretty much won every single trade for the past Mondays. So October 6th, full TP right there. September 22nd, full TP. September 29th and 22nd, full TPs right there. The trade analysis over here showed me that it has 50% probability of winning for buys and 72.73% for sells. So I'm mainly going to look for sells here if I can get that. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. It's been on a win streak. So if you look at this 7-11 entry, it's had a win streak since October 3rd. So for the past week or two, it's been on a straight upwards trend. There's only one drawdown period that happened over here between September 30th up until October 6th. But since then, it's been in an upwards push to the moon, basically. So we'll see what happens here, guys. Again, we have to kind of take into consideration the market conditions. I mean, we don't have to, but for the most part, I would take the market conditions into consideration because these aren't regular market conditions, right? It's not like regular seasonal moves. This is because of what happened last week with regard to Trump. So again, I don't care about price action or any of this stuff. I'm just marking this up for you guys to see. But for the most part, I'm just waiting for my trade time at 7:14. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. There's no other entries here for the day. There's only one entry that I was really looking to take, which was at 6 o'clock, and that one hit right there for a 2R. My next target entry is at 7-11. So we got some time. We got some time. Barack said, what a week to start. 80 bags, 80 points bagged already. Nice work, Barack. So Barack already hit 80 points for the day. And we'll kind of see what happens here. Sam got a sweep for 15 points. Nice work, Sam. Blanco said, no, bro, it's cool. 100 bucks negative. Just have to follow the system. Yeah, it's tough when you have to hold on to that trade into market open, Blanco. That's why for me, I usually pull before we get to that point. But if your system says to hold, then, hold it. You just gotta, the good thing is that you're sticking to your system. A lot of people can't stick to their system. So again, waiting till 7-11 for my entry. It's gonna be against momentum. All right, let's go back and take a look at the price action here. So price action is going back and forth. So like, there's nothing wrong with trading price action and there's nothing wrong with trading technical analysis, guys. It's just for me personally, I don't like trading off this stuff because I mean the data, it doesn't matter what the market shows. Like this can show me it's bullish, this can show me it's bearish. What the data is telling me is that these are the numbers, right? And it doesn't matter what's happening with price action, the numbers are the numbers. So whatever happens here, whatever happens, which is what I'm taking, is going to be based off the numbers. So I don't care if, like, for example, if we get a sell here, I'm looking for a sell, right, at 7-Eleven. The sell here isn't going to be affected whether price action is bullish or whether
Connection lost.
technical analysis is bullish or if the trend is bullish, right? Everything could point towards a buy here, but if at 7-Eleven I get a sell entry, I'm going to take that sell entry, regardless of the facts. The data here shows that ideally those are, that's probably where price is going to move to. So just something to keep in mind. If you guys are new here, if you guys have not seen my trading, I would recommend you look back at the previous trades, right? This is currently our stats for the year or for the month. Oh, for the year. So for the year, these are my stats for year to date. So basically from January 2nd up until today, October 13th, these are my stats for trading. I'm pretty much up 918,540, gross net 798,240. Here are my trades for the month of October so far. We've had a pretty good month of October. I've been running pretty much the algo every day for October. So from the 29th up until the 10th last week, we pretty much had all wins except for one day here. Or not all wins, but all green days. This here would have been a green day if I took two of the trades, but I only took one, so I wasn't able to recoup that on the second trade. I'm hoping to see what the algo is going to present for the rest of the month, right? I'm just following the algo here. I'm going off the quantitative data. I'm not basing anything off technicals, nothing off price action. I want to see what the algo can produce, month over month. This has been probably our best month ever, really. Just following the algo. And I'm not even taking full risk. Per trade here, I'm taking half risk, so I can take 2 or 3 trades a day. And it's been pretty spot on. So that is uh that is what I'm waiting for. Yeah. And then Glenn said this ATR. I know the ATR is extremely high, guys. Like Sam said 35 ATR, be careful. ATR 40, definitely staying out. Yeah, the ATR is extremely high right now, guys. This is pretty high. To put this into perspective, the ATR is usually around 20. So here's the problem. If you guys want to take an entry and your stop loss is 20 points, every candle here is moving an average of 43 points, right? So if you get into a trade and your stop loss is extremely tight at 20 points, the odds of you getting stopped out are very likely. Like you're probably going to get stopped out if it moves any direction against you. So you want to be careful with your entries here. Oh, gotcha, Brock. Yeah, so Brock was talking about the entries from today. Let's see. David said, I'm looking at the 906 entry, which is going to be 706 my time. For gold, it has an 86% win rate, buy TP stop loss of 510. Nice, nice. Yeah, I like those targets right there for gold, David. That's what I did for myself too. We'll follow through with you, or let us know when that entry comes up, and then we'll pull it up. But yeah, that does sound like a good entry. So you're looking for a buy at 706. We'll take a look. I think your trade's gonna come up before mine anyways. So we'll see. Yeah, Blanco said, looks like this holiday is affecting. The thing is, I don't even think people even realize it's a holiday. I think this is all happening because of the move last week, right? We had that big dump last week. There's a lot of, I don't want to say manipulation, but there's a lot of volume in the market. A lot of people are gambling right now because a lot of people are betting that price is going to go. Like I think this here was a trap, right? Let's go to the main chart real quick. I think this push to the upside right here was a trap. I think they were looking to trap the buyers, which they did, and now it's coming all the way back down. Huge trap right there. This is just a bull trap, right? They pushed price up here, like they made people think price was going to go up, and then it came right back down. This is a pretty heavy drop. So if you look at, like, you think about this, if you chase this buy over here, like say for example, you saw this huge candle and you're like, okay, price can go up, or you get in right here, right? Look how far it's drawn down already. It's drawn down almost 100 points or over 100 points, 102 points right there. So this is what I just said. Like, if your stop loss isn't wide enough, this can easily stop you out. The thing is, when we're trading, we have a 20-point stop loss. So that's not enough space to really cover much, right? If price goes against you, even just for the split second, you can easily get pulled out of the position. So that's why I'm saying, just be careful about the position. If you don't feel comfortable trading today, then just don't trade. There's no need to take anything today. Like myself, as much as I want to take an entry, it kind of depends on like what the volatility is looking like. Because I'm not trying to trade in a manipulated market. Even though I have the quantitative data over here, the quantitative data doesn't account for like the crazy day like that's happening today, right? This isn't normal. So for us to have a 45-point ATR on a random Monday, it's not normal. This is usually when there's something crazy happening behind the scenes, which is the tariffs. So just be smart about your positions, guys. I'm hoping like as we get closer to 7-Eleven, the volatility will die down a little bit. I'll be looking at the ATR to see kind of what happens there. Because I kind of want this to be over with, right? I want this crazy movement to be over with, and then I want price to kind of just go smoothly to how it normally moves. Um, I mean, we got a lot of time. So the thing is, if I don't take this entry here at 7-Eleven, I have so many different opportunities here to take an entry, right? If I don't get in at 7-Eleven, that's fine. I'll look at 716. If I don't get in at 716, that's fine. I'll get in at 742. If I don't get in at 742, that's fine. I'll get in at 743. There's multiple entries here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait for the market to calm down a little bit. Once it calms down, then I'm gonna get in at one of these entries here. I just don't want to get caught in this back and forth movement here because their stop loss isn't that tight. 20-point stop loss, 30-point stop loss, 25-point stop loss. The ATR is double our stop loss, so it can easily just spike you out. Like, look at this red candle right here. If you try to chase this buy to the upside, if your stop loss isn't more than like 50 points, you're gonna get stopped out easy within seconds. So what I would say is wait for the market to calm down. Once the market has calmed down a little bit, start to look for your entries. But right now, this isn't the time to get into anything. This isn't the time to get lucky. This is the time to get unlucky because you could predict the proper direction, but because there's a pullback, you can easily just get pulled out of that position. So we'll be following. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. I'm here to help you guys out with whatever you guys need help with. I don't have an entry until 7-Eleven, so I got about 20 minutes to hang out until then. So what might happen here is price might pull all the way back to open. This is a crazy drop back down, right? Because price pushed up like, I don't know, 230, 300 points, and now it's coming all the way back down to open. This is where market opened up. It's correcting back down basically. So price over here opened up. It's pushed up about 200 points, and then it came back down 200 points. That's an extremely large range for open. 200 points up, 200 points down. Let's take a look at the overall trend. So let's do another analysis of what the market's looking like. So it's funny because you look over here at the 15. The 15 shows that nothing's happened, right? So if you look over here on the 15-minute time frame, there actually has been nothing that has really happened here. That's crazy, huh? It looks crazy on the 1 minute because price is kind of spiking back and forth, but you look over here on the 15-minute time frame, and it's kind of just been ranging. Yeah, honestly, it's kind of just been ranging here. So market opened up right here on Sunday, and it's been going back and forth between this area. So that's the higher time frame. Of course, if you go in the lower time frames, like what we're looking at on the 1 minute, it looks like it's a huge mess, right? Which it is a huge mess. I mean, there's volatility spikes all over the place here. Let me turn off the momentum indicator. So you guys can see it looks like price kind of dumped around a bit, but if you go back far enough, you'll see here that it didn't actually do anything. So you look at these candles right here, it's the same range on the 15. It just looks crazy right now because this thing came down super heavy. The thing is it pushed up a lot and then it pushed all the way back down. So just put things into perspective, guys. If you're looking on the lower time frames, look look as high as the 15-minute time frame. You can see here that not much is actually happening. It's just prices spiking back and forth. Looking over here on the higher time frames, there's not really much of a direction. I mean, it's bearish trend right now. If you look here, prices below the pivots on the 30-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour. It doesn't mean it's going to hold below here, but it is currently still below. And the 1 minute's over here pushing back up. So we actually have a huge, there's an imbalance right here in between. I'll mark up the imbalance once this candle here closes, but there is a bit of an imbalance. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm not even gonna mark up the imbalance because I don't think it's gonna be very, or maybe it will be here. I'll just mark it up for now. So this is this big box right here is an imbalance. It lines up with the support level. So I'll just turn this off real quick. So we have this big imbalance right here. It's based off this red candle and this red candle right here. So price pretty much broke above the imbalance. It's retesting the imbalance and it might push back up. Here's the thing, a lot of people like to trade this imbalance. So this could be manipulated, right? Like this can either bounce and push up or it can come down and stop everybody out. Because if everybody's looking for the imbalance right here, this is why I don't like trading imbalances, fair value gaps, inverse fair value gaps, because that's what everybody's trading. I like using it as a confluence, but because everybody's trading it, it's a highly manipulated strategy. You guys have to understand if everybody's using one strategy, the market makers knew that they know that, right? The institutions and the market makers know that. So they tend to trade opposite of it, but not opposite in a way where you can trade inverse. They trade opposite where they can end up stopping you out and then pushing you right back up, right? So what I could see happening here is this imbalance might get invalidated. So price might come up. It'll come down to invalidate the imbalance. So it might drop down to here to stop people out for this break and retest. And then it pushes right back up. Because if it does that, it's going to stop people out in both directions, right? So let me just show you guys real quick what I mean by that. So this is one scenario, right? A lot of people like to trade this imbalance here where they take the break and retest to the upside. What I can see happening here is price may bounce off it to lure in the buyers. Then it might come back down, stop them out. And then what happens when this happens, right? When this happens, people take the inverse, right? So they end up taking the sell. But what happens once they take the sell, price will come down a little bit and it'll spike back up and it'll stop them out both ways. So you can get stopped out for taking this imbalance to the upside, and then you get stopped out from taking this imbalance to the downside. That's how people get screwed taking these specific trades. There's nothing wrong with the strategy, right? The strategy is the strategy. But for me, I like to base it off the data. So the data doesn't really tell me that that's going to happen. So I'm not really going to take that there. Right now, it's currently 653. Let me go back to my stats over here real quick. So let's see. So looking at my entries over here, we have a possible opportunity at 657, which is going to be with momentum. So I think right here, price might kind of just bounce around a bit. And then at 657, there might be some sort of direction here. It's a 60% win ratio, so it's not super duper high, but I'm expecting momentum to maybe push around this point. It's going to be a big push to it's a 100-point move. But that's all I got for 6 o'clock. Once 6 o'clock's done with, then it's really just these 7 o'clock entries after, which my first one's going to be right here at 711. I'll be looking to take it, but again, I'm hoping the market here slows down and I'm hoping the volatility here drops down too. So I'm hoping this ATR drops back down to like maybe 30 or even lower than that because I don't want to be messing around in this choppy market, choppy but volatile market. So here are the top entries right now between 7 o'clock or between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. So obviously the 6 o'clock entry right there has a 75% win ratio. That's the one that we took or we identified we're supposed to take. And then the other one right here at 6:33 has a 62.5% win ratio. This one over here at 8:09 has a 60% win ratio. 856, 857. So I didn't mark up any entries at 8 o'clock, guys, because I don't typically trade, after the market. But if you guys do want to take entries later after the session, and you guys have access to the algo, there's some pretty good entries right here at 8 o'clock. There's three of them. So 809, 856, and 857. Uh, yeah, if you guys have access to the algo, or if you guys have access to the indicators and you want the algo, um, I can give you access to it. You just have to have access to the indicators. Yeah, Sam said 46 ATR. It's so high, right? It's so high compared to what we're used to. Yeah, Talanji said this is wild. It's just stopping everybody out. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. So it doesn't matter which direction you're trading. If you're taking buys, stop out. If you're taking sells, stop out. Look at this big green candle right here. These candles are extremely large. It's a 100-point candle in 1 minute or less than a minute. If this doesn't show you, if this isn't screamed to you like, hey, stay out of the market, there's nothing I can do to tell you to stay out of the market, guys. As much as I would love to take a trade, or as much as I'd like to warn you guys not to take a trade, people are going to take trades here regardless of the fact. You have a big drop right here. This thing dropped down 80 points, right? 75 points. This candle shot up in less than a minute, 100 points, right? Unless your stop loss is like 100 points, 200 points, you're going to get wiped out of a lot of these moves here. Because my 20-point stop loss is not going to handle any drawdown. This is how big my stop loss is. It's very, very tight. This thing pushes up or pushes down, it's not going to survive. So let's see. Daniel said a current strategy for the day looks like just take a sell after every green candle, giant green candle. Market's so messy. Looks like piano keys right now. Yeah, I agree with you, Daniel. 100%. It's tricky. See, the thing is, as soon as you feel like you catch on to something, the market's gonna do something different, right? And I think that's like the biggest worry of like taking those types of trades. Like for example, that big red candle that we saw at 6. I was really tempted to hop into that because I knew there was gonna be a correction, but I didn't want to take that risk, right? I want to take the risk when the probabilities are in my favor. For this specific, for this specific move right here, it's just not really in our favor, to be honest. It's just like for example, if I got a really big green candle right here, although I do think like say for example, this big one comes up out of nowhere, I would expect a retracement to happen, but I wouldn't feel very confident about it because we're currently in this back and forth range. Let's go to the clean chart real quick. So that imbalance right there is pretty much playing out. It basically broke and retest that point. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to adapt. Let's see. So the liquidity is right there. We have prices currently reaching this liquidity here. There's two things that are going to happen here. It's either going to break through it or it's going to sweep this area, right? Looks like price is breaking through it. So as it breaks through it, same thing, or same type of analysis can happen at this higher high, right? Price is either going to break through it or it's going to sweep. So it broke through this one right here. And right here, this is where a lot of people are going to get kind of screwed because I feel like a lot of people are going to try to sweep this and price probably to push out and stop them out. Yeah, that's a 15-point spike right there. Got more liquidity right here. And again, this is a reason why I don't like messing with these types of markets because they're so unpredictable and you just don't know where price is going to go. Like it can go either direction. And that's another reason why I don't like trading price action or technical analysis at all. I don't like when there's too many opportunities there or too many different scenarios. Here, let's check that entry. So the 657 entry was with momentum, I believe, right? Okay. So guys, here's the 657 entry. It's currently running right now. So there's a 100-point target, 50-point stop loss. All right, this one's currently running right now, guys. It looks like it's about to hit. This is the one that I had marked up right here, 657. It was with momentum. We had a buy signal right here. TP stop loss is 100-point target, 50-point stop loss, and it is currently running right now in profit. So if you guys decided to take this entry right here, this is currently running right now, 100-point target. It's almost there. So we could probably add this to the algo entry. Although I didn't plan on taking it, this entry is actually a good one because, like I said, you need to have a really wide stop loss, and this stop loss is wide enough. 50-point stop loss can handle this move right here. The ATR is starting to drop. Never mind, I take that back. I was like, the ATR is starting to drop down, and it shot back to 40. It was like at 39, and then it came right back. So again, if you guys want my list of entries, it's in the premium tab. So if you go to the Discord, I posted all of my entries right here. I posted them the night before. So if you go under algo right here under premium, if you guys don't see this, just go to your, what is this, Cody Kai trades right here. Click the drop down, click show all channels, and it should show all of my trades right here. So I pretty much identified all the trades here and I gave the stats. So this same trade that I talked about right now at 657, this was pretty much on the list over here. It was a 60% probability of it hitting, 100-point target, 50-point stop loss. This is based off the historical data. So pretty much every day for the past 15, 16 days, it showed that there was momentum, which moved over here. Again, it's not an entry I would personally take because of the type of market that we're currently in, but it's just a setup that I had marked out there. The entries that I plan to take they're going to say target entry on them. So I plan to take the 6 o'clock, but we had that big candle prior, and I didn't want to get caught up in that, market manipulation. My next target entry is going to be right here at 711. So like I said, you could be trading either direction here. Easy to get stopped out, no matter which direction you trade in. The probabilities on the 657 trade just wasn't that great, so I decided not to take it. It was only a 60% win ratio. I like to get trades that are above 65. So not in this position right here. I was hoping the volatility was going to die down, but the volatility just picked right back up. It was at 39 earlier, 38. It picked back up to 41. Yeah, it's not very consistent. It's not very consistent at all. Damn, look at this. So, see, this thing's pushing back up. This is like, it's such a crazy market right now, guys. The ATR is at 45. Like I said, you have to have a really wide TP stop loss because if you don't, you could get stopped out either way. Like this trade here almost got to 100 points, then it dropped 100 points, and then now it's pushing right back up. Look at this crazy move here. So price pushed up from this entry point here, or I'll go from this lower point. From this lower point to here, it pushed up 190 points. And then from this top right here, it dropped within like just a few moments, 117 points. And then now from this low point, it's pushing all the way back up another 70 points, almost 100 points as it pushes up higher. You guys see how crazy that is? It's so unpredictable, like where the market's going. You're gonna see people who are gonna say that they predicted this or whatever. That's all bullshit, bro. There's no way you can predict this. All of a sudden, like you'll see a lot of people on social media, people saying that they predicted this was gonna happen or this was gonna go or this was gonna. There's no way to predict that you're gonna get this kind of volatility that's so inconsistent. If we were in a regular market, maybe you could predict some of these moves, but you can't really predict this because there's no data that shows that markets move like this over the past month or so, right? The past month has been pretty slow. Um, like, yeah, the algo here predicted this move, but this is based off, historical data. It's not based off of, it's not based, let's just go back and we'll take a look at it. So this entry happened at 657, right? So 857. And I'm going to show you like the historical data because there's no way that this could have been like exactly on point. But here, I'm just going to update the data real quick. This is with momentum. We got some time until 7 o'clock, so or 7:11. So we got some time here to kind of play around with the market. But anyways, here's the stats. It's loading up real quick. Updating the report. I'm just pulling up the 657 entry for the 100 to 50. So the entry right here, you can see the long position got in right there where I marked it up. Let's go back to the previous entries. So let's look at the entry from yesterday. So this short position right here, this thing took a while for it to hit. It wasn't like a continuous big range back and forth. This thing was just like a back and forth right there. Let's go back to the one before that. So if you look back at the historical data, the data here doesn't show you that this, so right here, you see how the entry came up? The entry came up right here, and it was a nice push to the downside. It wasn't like what's happening right now. right? So this was a smooth push to the downside for 100 points. Kind of went back and forth a little bit, but they weren't like 100-point candles. So this is what happened on Thursday, the 9th. This is the same entry that happens pretty much every day at 6:57. Another one right here. And then another one right here. And then let's just compare this to what's happening right now. So here's another one right here where it hit. See, they're just regular candles, and it's a slow push to target down below, right? This is what happened on October 7th, Tuesday. Price, it kind of went back and forth a little bit, but they were like normal candles. It was like a consistent push to the downside to 100 points. Now let's look at today. This here is nothing like what's happened over the past couple days, right? Big spike up, big spike down, big spike back up. This just kind of tells you that, this type of market here is very, very inconsistent. Because if you look back at the previous entries, even though it was 100 points, it like would range here for a little bit and then slowly make its way up and hit target. Not like this over here where it's like spike up, spike up, spike down, and eventually maybe spike back up higher. But yeah, let's take a look at the data here. So looking at the data, it pretty much won 42.86% of the buys. So the buys here are actually not very strong. You can see here that it doesn't usually win for the buys. It wins every so often, but it loses more than it wins. But for the sells here, it wins 75% of the time. So the stats here show that it would actually be better if it was a sell versus a buy. Either way, those are just the stats for this 657 entry. Now let's go back to that 711 entry. Again, guys, I said I was looking to maybe get into this entry if the volatility was going to slow down or die down a little bit, but it's not looking like it's dying down. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into this position. The reason why I say that is because my stop loss is going to be extremely tight, right? If I get into this position here against momentum, this is what my TP stop loss is going to look like. You guys see how tight my stop loss is? If price pulls back even for a split second, it could stop me out. So I don't know if I'll get into this one right here at 711. As much as I would love to get into this position, I don't like the volatility right now. So what I might have to do is I might just have to wait for a later entry, which is fine because we have later entries here, right? Like if I don't get in at 711, I can maybe get in later at 716, 714. I can get in at 720, 740, etc. I could wait till later in the session where the volatility starts to slow down a little bit because we do have some target entries down here, right, at 751. So yeah, if I don't get in right here, I'll mark it up for you guys for those of you who are looking to get into it. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the ATR right here. The ATR is still not looking super great. It's currently at 38. It's too high. It's a little crazy right now. Let's see. Blanco said, we'll be honest, was expecting this to be a bullish day, laugh my ass off, waiting for another setup. Um, yeah, no, exactly. Uh, so Blanco said, the thing is, bro, can't make trade decisions based on emotions. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it meets your criteria, then get into it, Blanco, of course, right? You know your strategy, you know what you're following, stick to your strategy. The thing is, today's just an outlier type of day in the market. That's why for me, even though like this, the numbers here or, the statistics show that it hits, this isn't a normal market for us. So for me, that's why I'm kind of staying out of it because my data over here is based off normal market conditions, right? Maybe some crazy market conditions, but for the most part, they're based off consistent data. So today just isn't as consistent as we'd like it to be, not even as we'd like it to be. It's not consistent at all. A lot of this volatility here is uncalled for a Monday. I don't think we've seen 40 ATR in like months, right? Every day it's like 20 or less. Um, 40 ATR is extremely high. So we're getting close to that 711 entry. If you guys want to take that 711 entry, it is going to be against momentum. So we currently have a sell momentum here. So it's going to be a buy for those of you who are looking to get into that position. So it looks like we're going to have a buy entry here for the 711 entry. TP stop loss is going to be 40.20. It's a target entry, so it's one that I planned on taking today. The only problem is I don't like the kind of random volatility spikes that's going on in the market right now. It has a 50%, and let's just take a look at the stats over here. So if you look at the previous Mondays, It won on the 6th, or no, this is wrong data. Let me fix this real quick. It was against momentum. Okay, so looking at the previous data over here, it pretty much won pretty much every previous Monday. It's updating the report right now. The entry is coming up in about 30 seconds. So if you guys want to take this entry, it's about to come up right now. It's going to be for a buy. Like I said, I'm not going to take it because this increased volatility doesn't meet my criteria. But it pretty much won every previous Monday. So you look over here on the 6th, it hit full TP. It hit on the 29th, and then it hit on the 22nd. Plus, the trade analysis over here shows that it has so I don't like the probabilities here as well. For this, I was aiming for a sell. It's going to be a buy entry. So this actually doesn't even meet my criteria. It still hits for buys, but it has a 50% probability that it hits for buys. It's pretty much hit 2 out of the 4 times. And then it has a higher probability for the sells of 72.73. So, all right, if you guys are taking this position right here, this is the entry at 711. It was one of my target entries. I decided not to take it because the ATR is too high. I don't like when the ATR is too high and my stop loss is tight. It's tight at 20 points. If anything, I would probably get into it like maybe later. But again, good thing we skipped that trade there because that there wouldn't have played out, right? Another spike candle right there. Like I said, it's too tricky right now. This market is not very consistent. Like I said, my stop loss is 20 points. This is what I was worried about. If we were to get like a random spike, any pullback here would stop out our position. This thing pulled back 46 points within seconds. So unless your stop loss is really wide, guys, I would probably sit out of the market. So I haven't taken anything today so far. All right, the next one on the list over here is going to be at 714 or 716 actually. 716, it's going to be with momentum. Let's take a look at the data here. It's updating right now. So, all right, that one's done with. Next one right here is at 716. It has a 66.67% win ratio. Again, the sells here are going to outweigh the buys. So this is what happened at the 711 entry, right? The 711 entry was a buy. I was looking to take it for a sell, but it wasn't a sell. So obviously I wouldn't have taken the trade either way. It doesn't even matter what the conditions were. Because it was a buy here, I would have sat out of it. Because the statistics over here showed me that the sells here made more sense, right? Again, we're trading off the quantitative data. We're not trading off price action. We're not really trading off any technical analysis here, right here. We're trading off the data that shows this is what's been hitting, and this is where we want to aim for. So yeah, Brock skipped it too. So that was a 711 entry right here. Again, if you guys are new here, just another reminder, if you want to see these setups, they're all posted in the Discord. Just go over here under the premium tab. If you're part of the premium, it's under algo. This entry right here was identified. So you can see over here, I said it was a 711 entry. It was against momentum, 66.67% win ratio, 2040 TP stop loss TP, 50% for buys, 72.73 for sells. It won all recent Mondays, but you want to aim for a sell if taking it. The entry right there was for a buy, right? So that's why I decided not to take it because I was looking for a sell. The next setup is going to be here at 716. So I posted this last night, 716. It's going to be with momentum. It's a 66.67% win rate probability of it winning. This is for a 40-point stop loss, 80-point target. It has a win ratio of 57.14 for buys, a 75% win ratio for sells. It won 2 out of the 3 recent Mondays. And if you want to take this trade, I would aim for a sell. Right, so the next opportunity here is going to be at 716. And we would be looking for a possible sell. It's going to be a bigger move though. The ATR here is starting to die down a little bit. So it's starting to look a little better. The thing is, it still isn't where I need it to be. So if you guys want to take this trade here at 716, it's going to be a 40-80 TP stop loss. Ideally, you want to look for a sell. Right here, it's starting to look like it's going to be a buy. So this might not be criteria met. Again, you want to take the highest probability trade with the market on your side. Right now, it looks like we're getting a buy signal here. If this buy signal closes, the entry technically is going to be a buy. It doesn't mean the buys are going to lose, but it has a lower probability of it winning. Okay, so again, right here, the trade here is going to actually be for a buy. If you look at my criteria, the criteria called for a sell. So if you want to take this trade, again, take it at your own risk. This candle is going to close in about 40 seconds. Like I said, I'm doing all my trades here based off the statistics, right? It's all based off the statistics here. This is an 80-40. Gonna update that real quick. Let's see. Question from Michael. Michael's asking Sean, what were your algo settings to identify the 7 to 8 o'clock? Um, Here, let's see. So here are my settings. Here's one thing that some people had some questions regarding this. If it's all blank right here, Michael, just change your required trades here to 10. I don't know why some people have that have an error. I don't know if it's because we have different data or if it's because I'm on a premium and I have more data than you. But if it ever becomes blank right here, just change this number right here at minimum trades required to 10. Try doing that, Michael, and then let me know if it works. Because a lot of people had that issue. I don't know why that happened, but yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah, I don't know why. It's I'm on a premium account, so I have a lot more data compared to everybody else. If you're on a lower account, so I think you just have to change the statistics there. All right, perfect. So it worked out for Michael. Yeah. Again, guys, if you guys have any issues with the algo over here, if it doesn't show any trades here, just go over here to the minimum trades required. Mine's set to 15, but if you set it to 10, it'll still show 15. Like for example, let me change this to 10 real quick. I'll click OK. And you look over here, it doesn't change anything. It's just for some people it'll show the data and for some people it won't. Yeah, it's the same thing. So nothing there really changes. But I'm gonna go and put it back to 15 because that's the settings that I typically have it set to. Yeah, so nothing there changes, same thing. But that's how you would fix it. So, all right, guys, if you're looking to take this trade here, it is currently running right now. This is the entry at 716. Like I said, this goes against my criteria. I posted the trade here already. I said aim for sells if you're taking. You don't have to aim for sells, but ideally you want to take a sell here because that's what the criteria typically aims for. Where I mean, it doesn't aim for it, but you want to take the best trades, right? So if it shows that it only wins 57.14% of the time for buys and it wins 75% for sells, obviously you want to go for something that has a higher probability, right? The total probability combined is 66.7, but the for sells here it's a lot higher. So again, like I said, guys, if you're on the Discord, the trade was listed right there. The next one that I'll be looking at will probably be a little later. It's gonna be right here at 742. Actually, I'm not gonna take the 742. It only won one out of the three recent wins. I think I might want to wait until 740. No, I'm probably gonna wait until 751. Okay, so the next actual entry that I'll be looking to get into is gonna be a little later, guys. It's gonna be a little later at 752. So I'm gonna be hanging out for like the next 40 minutes or so. So the trade's running here. I'm not going to fade this entry. Like I'm not going to go against it, but it just didn't meet my criteria there. There's still a decent probability of it hitting, right? A 57.14, you still have edge on your side. So, and the thing is, this trade's going to run alongside this 657 entry, right? This trade still hasn't been done yet. So if you guys look back at the previous entry, which was running at 657, it's still running for a buy. So this new entry over here is running alongside it. Looks like Blanco's in for a buy. So we'll see. Hopefully it pushes up for you guys, but it just didn't line up with my criteria. I would have taken it if it was a sell. We got Kyle over here. Kyle's bumping Givian while he's trading. He's having a relaxing trading day today. Trying to chill out with this crazy market. Um, All right, so there's nothing for me to take right now, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. I'm not taking anything here. Okay, so this is exactly why I would have skipped the trade, right? The trade here, again, like I said, the probability is pointing towards a sell. So that's why, because the trade here wasn't a sell, sat out on it. So you guys can see I actually protected myself from a lot of losses here because the probabilities were decent, but because it wasn't for a sell, we avoided that trade there. So, again, I want to give like a big thanks to David because I didn't even bother to look at those probabilities. But because David mentioned that, we should look at the splits between the buys and the sells, this actually gives us a lot more confidence taking and not taking certain trades. Because if we took a buy there, I would have lost. But because I already knew the probabilities here were higher for a sell, I totally sat out of this and I already knew my direction before this trade came up, right? The trade came up for a buy, it wasn't for a sell, so I skipped it. And this gave me the opportunity to prevent eating a loss there. So again, use the data to your advantage, guys. I mean, I can't emphasize this enough. The data is right in front of your face. You have to use the data because the data is going to give you, it's going to protect you from getting caught up in certain tr entries um, when they don't meet your criteria. Even though the market here is not moving very smoothly and it's moving kind of all over the place, it doesn't. If it doesn't line up, then you should definitely skip it. So, all right, I'm gonna clean this up over here too. The 657 entry has came down quite a bit. You can see again here, the market is moving very random. Very random. Let's go back to our main chart. So look what's happening here. If you guys remember, I marked up the structure here on the 15-minute time frame. It's not doing anything. It's in the same back and forth movement that I marked up earlier, right? So I marked this up from earlier today, and I mentioned price is probably not going to do anything until it gets out of this area, right? And it really isn't. So I'm pretty okay for the day because I haven't taken any trades, so I'm just chilling. No losses, no wins. The good thing here is that I'm not really stressing about any of this stuff. I mean, this market is very unpredictable right now. Even with the data, it's unpredictable, but the data here did help us avoid taking certain entries. So, all right, I'm gonna clean this up again. So we got the liquidity here kind of just all over the place. I'm really just waiting for the market to slow down a bit. Looks like there's a sweep right here off the imbalance. So off the imbalance and off the liquidity, there's a liquidity right here. It's a higher low. You got tested, price came down, spiked off it, bounced right off, and then it's pushing right back into this range. It's just going back and forth right now between this range here. There goes the resistance, there goes the support. Yeah, I'll mark this up right here real quick. Yeah, the resistance is right here. This is from previous data. Actually goes up a little further. So we got a resistance right there. Also have a resistance right here. Oh man, never have I been so relieved to not be in the market right now because I would be stressed out if I'm in these positions and then we're just getting these big spikes, right? Because this thing spiked down, so it came up to this resistance point and then it spiked down from right here from this lower high. You're basically getting spikes 100 points back both ways, right? 122 points to the downside, from this downside to the upside. How many points from there? Another 60, 70 points. It's just yeah, it's so unpredictable with what's going on here that I would hate to be in a position here because it would just like this would just stress me out. Look at this candle here. Big red candle again. 50 points. Again, if your stop loss isn't bigger than 50 points, you're gonna get stopped out. Doesn't matter which direction you're trading. No consistency. Yeah, Barack said I'm avoiding anything bullish, also avoiding anything bearish until I see a touch of 278 or 283. I don't want to be on someone's plate this morning. Yeah, Michael said, yeah, it's a little stressful, hate being down. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to stay out of the market, but it's also tough to get into a market like this. There's just days like this where you have to be able to sit on the sidelines. I was really excited to start trading this week, but after seeing the market, I'm actually glad we didn't. Um, I'm gonna wait until like 752 or 751. That's my next entry. My target entry is gonna be down here at 751. I'm hoping the ATR dies down a little bit, closer to like lower 30s or like even into the 20s. If it dies down, we have some time, so this can easily die down. The thing is, like, if it doesn't, then I'm not going to be forced to take any entries here because I don't feel a need to force anything. Let me check this out right here. So this is the next possible opportunity at 752 or 742. This one right here is going to be for a 50-20 or 50-25. Let's see. Michael said, Yogi Shawn, I will learn your patience. It comes with experience. Honestly, I've been caught up in a lot of these like very not I wouldn't say random, but these very volatile, choppy markets. And I've lost a lot of trades trading these types of markets. So for me, um, you get burned so many times trading a certain market, you just kind of grow numb to it and you just end up not wanting to trade them anymore. So this is why the ATR is super, super, super important. And I'm glad that Sam's here and all you guys here are like giving us reminders that, the ATR is super high and it's like not a good time to enter trades because a lot of times it's better to sit out. But you'll get it, Michael. It takes time, right? I've been trading for over 12 years now. I've been trading live for over 8 years now. So you can see like this doesn't come overnight. Um, the ability to sit on your hands is, it's a skill of itself. Trading is a skill. Being able to not trade is also a skill. Because it's hard when you have all these accounts and you're able to take trades and you have like everything is so easy to get into something like with the click of a button. It's really easy to not click, right? Because you just click buy, click sell, and you get into that position. Um, the trade might hit, might not hit, but with this type of market, it's easy to just get spiked out. So, all right, the next entry for us here is going to be at 742. I have the stats over here set up. So I got it set at 742 for the algo. The TP stop loss is 50.25. It's against momentum. Let me take a look at the data here. So 742. This trade over here is against momentum. It has a 66.67% probability of it hitting. We're using a 25 stop loss, 50-point target. It has a win percentage of 85.71 for buys and a 50% win percentage for sells. It won one out of the three recent Mondays. So basically, it's not really good on Mondays, but if you do want to take it, you want to aim for a buy. So at 742, if you get an entry here, you want to aim for a possible buy because the data here shows that it wins for a buy 85.71%. So you're basically using the quantitative data to think, okay, if I do get an entry here, I want the entry to show up and line up for a buy because although it doesn't have a super high win rate overall, and it doesn't have such a super high win rate on Mondays, if it's a buy, at least the odds will be in your favor, right? It is a 66.67% win ratio. If you focus mainly on a buy, this might bump it up closer to a 70. So that is something to keep in mind. Yeah, David said the way our probabilities percentages have increased when positioning on the side with the higher edge is unreal. I've been seeing consistent directional win rates of 80% when the algo feels like a cheat code unlocked. I know, right, David? It's crazy when you have the data in front of you because the data shows you like this is what's actually happening, right? It doesn't matter if price reaches a resistance or support. Like for example, if we have an entry here and this lines up for a buy, and say we have a resistance right here, right? I don't care about the resistance, right? Resistance doesn't mean anything to me because what's probably going to happen is price will break right through it. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%, David. It's kind of like it's crazy because it takes the noise out of trading, right? I feel like when you trade price action and you trade technical analysis, there's so many different ways to analyze the market that it gets very confusing and and you just don't know what to do sometimes, right? Because sometimes it'll tell you to take a buy, sometimes it'll tell you to take a sell. The thing is, if you look at the data, it tells you, okay, it doesn't matter what you're taking. This is what the data is telling you. You know, if it shows that it wins this many times your buys, then stay with the buys. So. Yeah, you know, the more and more that you guys play with it, and I'm sure you're gonna find something new, David, because you picked out that specific little criteria and filter right away. I think the more and more that you play around with the stats, you're gonna find even more things to look at that will improve the profitability even more. And it's not even based off the technical analysis or price action. You're basing it off the data. So yeah, if you find anything else, feel free to share. Um, it's crazy because I think over time we're just going to keep getting better and better because the data is going to get better. Like right now, the data is not super heavy on one side, but I think as we enter the deeper into the fall season, I think the data is going to be more aligned because there's going to be more consistency. This data here still kind of factors in some of the summer market, so we'll see. But yeah, guys, if you're looking to take an entry, the next possible opportunity for entry is going to be at 742. It's not my target entry, but it is. I mean, it has a decent probability of it hitting. Okay, so I'm liking the ATR now. The ATR is starting to drop down. It's at 34 ATR. Like I said, I want it to be in the lower 30s, if not in the 20s. We'll see what happens here. If you guys have any questions, hop into the chat. Hop into the chat and we'll discuss. Let's see. So let's see what Ed had over here. Ed said, Sean, I believe 60/30 is slightly better for the 942 trade. Okay. Let's take a look at that. Yes, you are correct, 100%. You are correct. So uh it is better. What I would do here is so I'm aiming for this to keep a tight TP stop loss, Ed, but I might aim for the 60. You get what I'm saying? So I'm going to get in for the 25.50, but then once it reaches the 50, I'll move my stop loss and profit to the 50, and then I'll move my target to the 60. So yes, that is correct. I just want to keep my risk as tight as possible. I know it's only 5 points, but um, it just kind of depends on like how it moves. But yes, you are correct. So the same entry here at 742, it is a higher win percentage. Instead of a 66.67, it is a 73.33. TP stop loss instead would be at a 30-point stop loss, 60-point target. The win percentage is exactly the same, and the sell percentage is actually a bit higher. So for this here, you can take a buy or a sell, and it'll probably do pretty nice. Um, but like, yeah, what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to try to go in with a higher risk reward. So basically, instead of a 1 to 2, it'll bump up a little higher, maybe like a 1 to 1.5 or a 1 to 2.5 actually. So if you guys just want to go in for the 60/30 and not have to like really mess around with it or worry about anything, then you can go for that. I might even just go for that, honestly. I'm going to see how the market's moving, but we'll see. But yeah, thanks Ed for the input. Ed is 100% correct. That one is better. That would have been my target entry if I was to choose one. But they're pretty much same aligned. This is going to be against momentum. So looking at the momentum over here, this actually is so what I'm looking at over here. And if we look at this from a price action perspective, there's a resistance up here, right? So what I can see happening here is this is what may play out. Price may push up. We get to 642. Price bounces off the resistance. It comes down and then ride this back down to the downside. So slight climb to the upside, rejection, continuation down. It's basically a head and shoulders pattern for those of you who are pattern traders. And this is what we're looking at. So we'll see. I mean, this might be the case, right? Price might push up. This might be a shoulder ahead, shoulder continuation to the downside. That's if you want to combine price action and technical analysis. You guys can combine it if you want. For me personally, I don't really like to combine the two, but if you want to combine it to improve your probabilities, you can do that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So it looks like there was a sweep right here. Price swept off that, shot right back up. Another support level right there. All right. So we'll see what happens here, guys. 736. We're getting closer to 742. The ATR hasn't dropped down to where I need it to be yet. It's still pretty high. It's at 35. I need it to be closer to like 30, 32, maybe below that in the 20s. All right. So yeah, if there's any questions you guys have, feel free to hop into the chat. See what we got here. So let's see. I'm gonna go and update this real quick. We'll do 60/30. Not a big change, but probabilities are gonna go up quite a bit. So it was a 66.7% probability of it winning for 25.50. I changed it to 30/60. And the probability over here of it hitting is going to go up quite a bit from 66 to 73. So let's see. Let's see, 60/30 right here. All right, the volume's actually looking pretty decent. Okay, so this here is going to be tricky because my criteria here was calling for a buy, right? But the trade is looking like it's setting up for a sell. So again, this might be one of those scenarios where I might have to skip it again because or we'll see. If we get a sell signal right here over the next couple minutes, then maybe we'll get that buy entry. But again, the criteria here, I'm going off my criteria. If I called for a buy here, I'm not going to take it if it's a sell. I already called for this for a buy last night, so playing it safe. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. If you guys want to take the entry, I mean, feel free. There's nothing holding you back, right? If you feel confident with this, if you did your own analysis, you did your own due diligence, and you saw that okay, this here even though the probabilities are aiming for a buy, if you see a sell there and your criteria lines up with it, I mean, feel free to take it. Don't let me hold you back from taking your trade because I'm going against the probabilities. The thing is, I just want to take the trade that has the highest probability, right? If I take a trade and it has a 70% probability of it hitting and it loses, I'm completely fine because my data show that you can't be 100%. There's no guarantees with this stuff. So I'm just trying to take a trade that has the most edge in my favor. Because if you take every trade with the most edge and then you don't take the trades that don't, then your probability of being profitable in more profitability long term is going to be higher. So I'm doing everything based off the data. Like I said, we talked about this before. We're trading like quants, right? This is all based off the quantitative data. No technical analysis, nothing extra. I'm just going based off the data here. If you want to test your probabilities and go against it, and the thing is that there's still probability of your trade hitting. If you take a sell here, like let's take this for example. Let's say if you went with momentum, right, which is a buy, or with a sell basically. Like let's look at the probabilities here. I'm just gonna load it up real quick. So if you have 73%, I would take that. I would not take a trade with a 6% probability of it winning, right? So I'm not going to go against the trade here. This is, this doesn't make sense. Like if you're going to take an opposite trade, you might have a possibility of it winning. You have a 6% chance, but I'm not going to take those odds. Those odds are not in my favor. So If you guys want to take it, feel free. If you guys don't want to take it, that's completely fine. This is yeah, it's going to be against momentum. So this technically would be a sell. I mean, this trade does look good. Like, don't get me wrong. It looks like it could probably play out for 40 points, but the numbers just don't align with what I'm looking for. Because I was looking to take this for a buy here. But all right, we got this coming up right here in about a little over a minute. So about a minute 30. If you guys want to take it, I'll mark it up for you guys there. It's going to line up on the chart, so you don't have to, you'll see it come up. I'm just not going to take it. Damn, if we get a sell signal right here, this could actually line up for the entry. If this sell signal, I don't know if we'll get one, but if, oh, we might get one here actually. Okay. So this might actually line up for a buy, guys, like we were anticipating for. No. Oh, that was close. Okay, now, so unfortunately, this doesn't line up. If this here closed with the sell signal, the buy here would have lined up. It would have been perfect. I would have taken the trade, but it did not close. So unfortunately, this here is going to be a sell. If you want to take this trade, guys, again, take it at your own risk. Like I said, my probabilities over here, I was looking for a buy. It's not a buy, so I'm not going to take the trade. I almost was going to take it if this here would have closed, but it didn't. So if you guys want to take this trade here, I'll mark it up for you guys. I'm not going to take it. We'll sit out of this trade. But of course, I'm still hoping this here hits because I do want it to go, where the algo is pointing it towards. The thing is the probability is just not as high as I would have wanted it to be. It's still pretty decent though. It's a 73%. So you basically still have a good chance of the trade hitting. It's just it didn't line up with what I was looking for. So all right, here's the entry right here. You guys can see the short right there. So the entry is there for a sell. It is currently running right now. Not in this position. I was looking for a buy, but this could possibly hit. So trade's running right now in profit, but it did not meet my criteria. All right, so next entry is going to be right now, actually. It's going to be for a buy, actually. Okay, so there's another opportunity right here, right next to it, guys. It's at 750. This one's going to be an actual buy entry. If you guys want to take this one, there's another one next to it. It has a 66.7% win ratio, 83% probability for buys. It lost pretty much 2 out of the 3. All right, the trade here is actually running now the opposite way. You got two trades running opposite of each other. This is what you don't want to see. If I see something like this, I would be better off just sitting out of the market. So right here, this is the other trade at 743. This one actually does line up with what we were looking for. So if you are taking this trade right here, I'll follow it for you guys. So there's another one right here, 743. It was against momentum. The momentum here was for a sell. The entry right there was for a buy. Criteria show that it has an 83.3% win ratio for buys, 55.56 for sells. The problem here is that it loses most Mondays. So it's not the best entry. Let me change the settings over here. This is going to be at 43. Criteria right here at 743 it's still the same thing, 25.50. I was really tempted to get into this one, but I didn't want to fade the other entry. See, this is a problem when you have two trades running alongside each other and they're going opposite. I don't like fading the previous one because this one over here is for a sell and this one's for a buy. One of them's going to have to lose, right? One of them's going to lose and one of them's going to win. Um, I didn't want to put myself in that position. So here's the good thing. The volatility here is starting to slow down a bit. So I think as we get closer to 751, I could possibly get into this one here for a sell. That this is gonna be my last opportunity. So for the day, we had a bunch of entries here come up. None of them lined up with what we were looking for. The next one here is going to be at 751. This one actually has a lot better probability. This is with momentum. It has a 66.67% win ratio, 2040 stop loss TP. It wins 55.5% for buys, 83.3% for sells, and it won all previous Mondays. So if this comes up, it'll be good for a sell. Here goes a trade right here that lined up. This one actually lined up with what we were looking for at 743. The numbers here line up, but again, I don't want to fade the previous entry. The previous entry over here is for, and when I say fade, this means, going opposite of the previous entry. I don't like when they go opposite of each other. So it looks like the first entry is actually going to play through. Good thing I skipped out on both of them because they both look pretty messy. So all right, the next one that I'm looking to take, guys, is going to be closer to 751. Oh God, look at this candle. Another outlier candle. So see how every candle here was pretty small? The ATR was starting to slow down a little bit. All of a sudden, we get this huge candle right here. How big is this one? Almost a 70-point candle. Jeez, out of nowhere. See, every candle here was moving like 10, 20 points. All of a sudden, this huge candle comes up and just wipes everybody out. It's crazy. That is crazy. Let's go back to the stats over here. I kind of want to see what was happening with the previous entry because, we didn't want to fade the other one, but I'm curious to see what the 742 one is looking like right now. This one was a short. So this one's actually still running, guys. Uh, like I said, one of them is going to lose, right? When they go opposite of each other, one of them is going to lose and one of them is going to win. The short position here is still actually running. But you see how market here is going back and forth? They could both get stopped out actually because of there's no consistency here with the direction of price. I know Barack said, I know this is not funny. It's like this is why I'm staying out of the market, right? The data here shows that the market should be going somewhere, but the thing is the market condition is all over the place that like you can technically get stopped out in either direction. It's a mess. Let's see. Drew's asking 751 setups are looking strong in this case with the increased ATR. Would you consider taking the 2550? Yeah, possibly, Drew. The thing is like I need to like see what it's looking like as we get closer to 751. The problem with this entry here is, like I mentioned, it's very unpredictable with how this stuff is spiking around because a lot of this stuff is happening based off what happened last Friday, right? That big drop. So, like I said, there's trades that are coming in both directions, and it's really tough to decide on which one you want to take because it's just so unpredictable. Like the data shows this, but this isn't typical data today specifically. David's asking which of the two has the highest probability of winning. Let's see. So looking over here at 751, they're exactly the same. Yeah, so the 4020 and the 2550 is exactly the same, both for sells. We're getting really close to it. Visual said market condition has changed, so it is hard to rely on market data in the past 2 weeks. We had a drop 1,500 points on Friday. When was the last time we had such a big drop in April? Yeah, exactly, Visual, 100%. Like what Visual basically mentioned is like, this data over here, it's good data, but the thing is we're having this different type of market today that's based off the drop from Friday, right? So the thing is the data here, although it's good data, it doesn't adapt with what's happening today because this is like an outlier day. There's random stuff happening in the market, very unpredictable. Price goes up, price goes down. You can't really go with what's been happening over the past 2 to 3 weeks because it just doesn't align, right? This data, the thing is you're gonna have pockets of movement where it does align, but it's not gonna be it's not gonna be as consistent as it would be if this was a regular market day. So yeah, visual, I agree with you 1,000%, bro. Like I said, this market is so unpredictable that although we have the data here, it's very tricky to be able to kind of follow through with it because you just don't know where market's gonna go. So if you guys want to take this trade over here at 751, I it's going to be hard for me to take this trade here, guys. As much as I want to take this at 751, just with everything that I just said right now, it's going to be difficult for me to take this confidently and and be okay with the risks that are at hand because the risks here are going to be very, very high, of course. I mean, the stats look great though. The stats look great here for a sell. It's going to set up for a sell. It's just I don't know. These candles here, they're kind of random. If we get a random green candle out of nowhere, let's see. We got 40 seconds to make a decision, guys. If you guys want to take this, it's going to be a sell. It's going to be the 751 entry over here. See, I don't like how we're getting like this increased volatility again on this candle. This candle is, I mean, they're moving kind of slow. There's a pending buy signal right there. And with that pending buy signal, this can easily just poof, spike to the upside, 40 points. But this lines up with the previous entry, so this could be a good one. I think I'll get into it. I'll probably get into it with a smaller contract size, just to kind of let it play through. You know what? I'm gonna sit out of this one, guys. I just saw the candle spike down right now. I'll follow it for you guys, but I'm not gonna take it. I just didn't like how this candle here. If it closed above here, this would have been good. But this candle was like up here, and all of a sudden it spiked down at the last second. So here's the trade. It's currently running right now. This is the 751 trade. As much as I want to trade off the data and not trade off my emotions right now, I think I just don't feel super confident in this type of market. The trade is running though. It's running alongside this one. So this is actually a pretty nice setup because this here's for a sell. It's about to hit full TP right there. And then we have this one over here that's following alongside it further to the downside. So against momentum, 751. What are the numbers? Oh, it's supposed to be with. That's why. All right, so full TP on this one right here. The 742 trade, full TP right there. And then the 751 trade is currently running in profit. So if you guys caught that one, this is the what was it? 743. It was a win for 2R. Today's a headache. I'm not going to risk it. Trade's still running though. I'll put this up a little later as we get closer to it. But yeah, the first trade over here at 740, what was it? 742 actually. So this trade over here hit. This one over here is probably gonna take an L. I'm actually glad I didn't get into that position. We'll just document this one because this one was one that I actually was planning on taking. So let's see. This might be a loss. I didn't take these positions though, guys. So everything we've documented today, there were trades that I planned on taking, but I didn't take because the market here is, I mean, it's just super, super random today, and we can't base it off the data. Nice. So Rashida took this previous entry over here. She took it and made 455 on 3 top step accounts. Nice work, Rashida. Yeah, David said pre-market looked a lot better. Yeah, because we didn't have all this crazy movement here on open, right? The pre-market was actually moving a little bit smoother than what it normally does. The market open here, you guys can see this is a lot of back and forth chop. So if you were to just identify this area up here, so this area down here, it's literally just a bunch of market chop, right? Chop, 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 back and forth. There really wasn't much direction. It's all good. It's just one day, guys. Today's Monday. We have a whole week ahead of us. I'd rather have no losses today and just kind of move on with the week. And then hopefully tomorrow's going to be a lot smoother and then get into positions. But it looks like this trade here is about to hit 751. It got really close to stop loss, but it's on its way down right here. Depending on what criteria you decided to use, there's two different criterias here. There's one for 40/20 and there's one here for 25/50. So it looks like the 40 right there is about to get hit. So if this here still hits, this is amazing because the algo here, it lined up perfect even though the market was kind of all over the place today. So my top 3 entries that I looked to take today, it looks like they're about to hit. If you guys took them, great work. If you guys didn't take them, there you go, full TP. Almost a point away. Let's go. Short position was taken right there, and it's about to hit target almost. Oh man, this would have pissed me off. If I was in this position, this would have pissed me off. It was like not like less than a point, maybe partial quarter of a point right there. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. This would have like kind of I probably would have pulled out of this early just because of like how the market's moving, but I think it'll come down. Yeah, it's coming down. It's almost there. I wanted to hit just to see it hit. Even though I didn't take the position, I would like to see it hit just because. Let's see. Sam said, see you guys tomorrow. See a lot of liquidity below. To go up, I think it'll have to eat a lot of those stop losses. Yeah, I agree with you too, Sam. I agree with you too. Let's see. David said, or no, you already mentioned that. Let me see. Jonathan over here. Hey, Jonathan. No, it's not too late. If you have access to the indicators, or if you don't have access, just get the indicators, Jonathan. Message me on Discord, and then we'll get you situated. Yeah, if you guys want access to the algo here, I mean, this algo is very, very powerful, guys. I mean, this is an understatement. Like, if this trade here hits, understatement, right? If you guys want access to the algo, I know I said last week that we were going to close it off. I know some of you guys didn't have a chance to get on, or you guys didn't see my message. So if you guys want access to this algo to get, all the probabilities and possibilities of entries, the cool thing with this is that you don't have to be on the charts all day, right? You'll set up your entries the night before. Like I took all these entries, I wrote this all down yesterday. So the thing is I didn't have to like be staring at the charts. I had my time set up already. So like when the time happened, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get in or I'm not gonna get in at this point. And you can set it up. But yeah, if you guys want access to my algo to test it out, if you have access to the indicators, or if you don't have access, just go to the website, go to kodikaitrades.com, click on strategies right here. Once you sign up for that, just send me a message on Discord, say you want to test out the algo, and then I'll give you access to it. The cool thing here is that everybody's testing it now. So like we're starting to figure out different ways to use the algo, right? Because the algo gives you all the data, but it's like, what do you do with that data, right? How do you use that data to win trades? How do you use that data to increase your probabilities? How do you use that data to have, these win streaks? And it's all part of this bigger ecosystem as to, just improving your trades in general. You don't have to trade the way I am, but this will help you with a lot of different ways to identify when to take a trade and when not to take a trade. So like for example, here I decided not to take certain trades that happened over here because they didn't line up with my probabilities. So yeah, again, this trade here is still running. This thing is taking quite some time. I do think it's going to hit. I think it's just going to be a matter of time until it does. But like I said, if I was in this position right here, this probably would have been stressing me out because the momentum and the direction and the volatility here is just not very consistent, right? The ATR is currently right here. This just goes to show that, like, if you understand when to sit out of the market, it's gonna make your probabilities go up even higher. So I just want to see this hit though. So I'm gonna wait here and I'm gonna see if this hits, and I'll give you guys a little update. Again, looking over here at our stats for this week and for this, well, I didn't take any trades this week, but for this month has been pretty incredible, guys. Like I was not expecting October to be like this. I think I made more profit in October than majority of the months this year. September was a losing month for me, unfortunately, but it happens. August was pretty decent. July was pretty decent. So I'm usually around this range of profit, maybe half of that. But you can see here that we've just March was an amazing month though. March was pretty crazy. It was a good month. February was okay. In January was okay. So these are my average profits for the month, right? Like 72, 95. March was an outlier. It was a really good month. I made 242 that month. April, I lost 59, just a little bit. May, I was at 14, slow month. June was 50. We entered summer market, so it slowed down a bit. July was pretty good. August was pretty decent. September was horrible. And then October, we made it all back within the first week, basically. So overall, it's been a pretty great year. Again, these are my stats for the year. I don't know anybody else who really shows their stats like this. It's hard to stay consistent all year round. So like these are my stats from January 2nd all the way up till October 13th today. And you guys can see my ups, you can see my downs, you can see my sideways. Right here, September, we had a little bit of a slump, and then I made it right back that first week of October. So as long as you guys use proper risk management and use probabilities, it's your advantage, you should be able to do pretty good trading. So again, this is another reminder of why we skipped this trade. I'm glad we skipped it because the market here is super, super, super random, at least today. But all right, if there's any other questions that you guys have, feel free to hop into the chat. I didn't take any trades today, so it's actually it was a little difficult for me to sit out of the market, but I'm glad I did because although there were some wins, also some losses here. So I'm out this for the most part. Let's see, Daniel's asking, would you wreck your trailing on that one? Um, I mean, if it stops you out, I mean, you wouldn't wreck it, but you would take double the loss basically, Daniel, on this one. That's why I don't like taking the ones with the bigger TP stop losses. Because so for example, Daniel was asking if like your trailing stop loss would like, be screwed in this situation. That's what you mean, right, Daniel? With the trailing drawdown? Like, if it hits your stop, then yeah, it would. But if it hasn't hit stop yet, so it's still actually good. Because what happens here is the trailing will follow your trade, right? So over here it goes negative, and then you go super positive, and then you go negative, and then you go super positive again. So you're basically recouping the trailing right here, right now. See how price is coming back down? You basically ate up the trailing drawdown right here. But if it comes back down and hits your target, it doesn't really wreck your trailing. If it hits your stop though, then yes, it's going to give you a double loss basically because, or maybe even a triple loss because your trailing here is, yeah, exactly, would have tripled out because you would have been so close to your target here, it would have given you a loss of not just 40 points. Well, it was supposed to be 20 points, right, initially, but instead of giving you a 40 point, it's going to give you a 60. So basically, it would have ate up, it would have destroyed your trailing right there. Well, not destroyed it, but you would have taken a hit. The thing with our trades here is that luckily we have a pretty high win percentage. Like we don't really have a lot of back-to-back losses. So on the next trade, it'll usually balance it out, right? Because even if you have a 60-point drawdown on your trailing, if you win the next trade, it's gonna cut it out by 40, right? So it kind of works both ways. So looking at this right here, Daniel, see how it went into drawdown initially? Your trailing actually would have been saved because you would have, instead of just having 40 points here, you would have made, I'll measure it from here. So your trailing would have been saved by 55 points because normally you would just get 40 right if there's no drawdown. But because it went into drawdown slightly and it pushed back down, you actually would have recouped a lot of your trailing there. That's why for me, when I trade with 8R risk basically. So I'm able to basically 8 trades. So like how you're triple risk on this one trade if you would have lost. Basically I would have eight opportunities. But here it looks like it's about to hit target. So looks like your trailing might get saved right here. Man, what a market. Look at this thing. It's just chopping back and forth. This is actually a pretty long entry for a 40-point move. I think at this point I probably would have closed out early. Just being realistic. Yeah, exactly. Daniel said I'm not in this trade. I just wanted to see it hit though. Same here. I also would love to see it hit just because we're following it. Let's see. David said, would it be possible to create a channel in the Discord specifically where everyone can share upcoming higher probability trades? Yeah. So that's the whole point of the algo group right here, David. This is for everybody. If you guys want to chat in here, this is for everybody. Because the thing is, if you just want to see my trades, you can just scroll up and you can see everything from here. Um, but you can put it like this is basically our own chat here for the algo. So if you want to try chatting in here, David. Let me see if it works. If it doesn't work, then I'll have to play with the settings, but it should work. I think you guys can message in here. So if you want to try, you can just put test message or something. Like it doesn't matter. Just post something in there so I can see if you can actually post. And if you can't post, I'll update the settings. I think the settings are good though. Yeah, 'cause you can send messages in this channel. Okay, perfect. Thanks. Thanks, David. Yeah, so if you guys are in the premium and you guys want to talk about like what the high probability trades are, because you guys can just collaborate here, right? If I'm not on the live and I'm not able to identify entries, then you guys can talk here and we can you can discuss with other people who have access to the algo and full TP right there. Wow, what an entry. So three back-to-back wins today, guys. I didn't take anything, but I'm glad that this one hit. Plus 2R on that one. Great move. Great day. I mean, I didn't take any entries today, but even you can see here that even though the market was kind of sketchy, it still works. It's crazy. The data still works. It's crazy. Man, what a crazy day today. But Rashida got back in. Nice work, Rashida. So Rashida hopped out and got right back in. Full TP on that one. If you guys went for the 50, so it doesn't matter which one you took. If you took 20/40, it would have hit. You took 50/25, this would have hit. I mean, this trade would have stressed me out, to be honest. This would have kind of pissed me off a little bit when it went back to open. Because like what Daniel said, if this would have lost, you would have taken triple the loss basically on Apex because of the trailing drawdown. So Rashida got back in. She got up 1,000 on that. Nice work, Rashida. She said definitely stressed me out. Yeah. But see, if you trusted in the algo would have told you exactly where price was going to go, right? We knew where price was going to go. I had this data from last night. It's not like I came up with this all of a sudden. I was like, hey, use this TP stop loss. I'm like, no, we pulled this data yesterday, and the data showed here that it was going to push to 40 or 50 points, which it did. It pushed 40 and 50 points. So great work on that one right there. Yeah, Talanji said the algo proving that market manipulators need to make their money no matter what Trump does. Yeah, exactly. So you can see here, based on the data here, it still follows even though there's like manipulation in the market, right? We had three back-to-back wins here. These are the three entries that I plan on taking, 6 a.m., 7:42, and 7:51 right here. They all had high win percentages. They all lined up perfect, and they all went to where they were supposed to go. So if you guys took any trades today, three wins, plus 6R for the day. Great day overall, guys. Let's see. So Jonathan was asking if anybody used the algo on gold. Did your trade hit, David? Okay, perfect. Yeah, so David said there was an entry at 906 and he hit it for full TP. Nice work, David. Man, David spot that one out today. So great work on catching that. A lot of you guys are applying my algo on different assets. Like I said, you can apply this algo on the Dow, YM, you can apply it on ES, you can apply it on NQ, you can apply it on gold, you can apply it on anything really. You just got to play around with the settings to figure out what the proper TP stop losses would be, but it's not too difficult. You just got to play around with the settings and find the trades with the highest probability. CJ said he entered the last one with a smaller contract size, had to walk away, but the algo is on point. Yeah, definitely, CJ. Great work on catching that there as well. Glenn is asking, how do you enter the trades, Sean? Do you take them? They're with market, yeah. I don't do any limit orders because when the trade doesn't pull back, then it won't get filled. So I do it all with market. Will is asking why those three entries in the algo entries. Sorry, let me read your question. Will said why those three entries in the algo entries and not the others. Um, Were you not here the whole time? Well, because we've been explaining that this whole time. I don't know if you just missed the whole. I kind of explained that stuff in detail. The probabilities, that's why. We're trading based off the probabilities. Like I said, there's no emotion involved here. You have the probabilities here. If the probabilities line up where it's the highest, then you're going to take it, right? 751 over here, it has the highest probability. These over here didn't have as high probabilities. It's a 60% win ratio. So like, there's only so much to work with here. Um, yeah, I don't know if you missed. Here, let me put my checklist. I think you probably just we talked about this last week pretty much every day. I'm only taking trades that have a higher than 65% win ratio. So let me just go over it again real quick. Where is it at? Okay, so my checklist, right? I'm marking up the trades that have 60% probability, but I'm identifying the ones I'm going deeper and I'm only getting the ones that are above 65, right? So right here, see the ones that are above 65, I have notes on them because I decided to take those. The ones with 60 are just confluences. So that's I mean, it's obvious, right? Which why these are taken than the others because these have 60%. This shows that trade will go in that direction, but they're not ones that I'm looking to take specifically. Everything here that I have lined up that are actually my target entries or the ones that I'm looking at with notes are above 65%. So anything above 65% is one that I'm taking. Then on top of that, I'm looking at the probability between a buy or a sell. If the probability is higher for a buy or a sell, then I'm going to take the buy versus the sell, right? So I mean, there's notes here for every single entry. That's the reason why. Um, Everything is based off the data. There's no guessing here. There's no, I don't care where the trend's at. And I don't care whether the market, I don't care about any price action, technical analysis, or any of that stuff. I just go based off the data. So basically, I mark up all entries above 60%, and then I weed them down to above 65%. And then I go even deeper and I look at to see which trades have higher win percentages, right? Buys or sells. And then I go for that specific direction. So yeah, I know your problem. Well, there's no problem. I just I wasn't sure if you were like you weren't paying attention or if you're just like throwing a question out there. Because we've been like this whole session we were kind of talking about this in detail. So I thought maybe you just stepped away and you didn't hear any of it. But yeah, that's the reason why we took it there for those specific reasons. But all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. Let's see. Daniel said thanks, Sean. Got to see you guys tomorrow. Got 60 points today. Nice work, Daniel. So if you guys just joined in, there's a couple entries which came up today. We had the algo entries which came up right here. There was about three over here, which were back to back. We had the breakout over here, which also hit full TP for 80 points, and then we had the orb over here, which hit full TP for 40 points. So other than that, Will said, but at 716, it is over 60. Okay, so again, Will. This is what we just talked about, right? I said we're looking for the direction. It was a buy. We're aiming for a sell because it wasn't a buy. I mean, because it wasn't a sell, that's why we decided not to take it. Does that make sense? The whole notes are right here, bro. Like it was a buy entry, but we were taking it first. We wanted it to be a sell, but it wasn't a sell. That's the whole reason why we didn't take it. Um, Sorry, well, I just find it funny, bro, because we just talked about that. Um, I mean, I kind of went over the list, right? So not just because it's above 60% doesn't mean we're going to take it, right? I went over that. Above 60 is going to be listed. Above 65 is what we're looking for. And then we're identifying for a buy or a sell. Right here, it was for a buy and it wasn't for a sell like what we were aiming for. And that's why we decided not to take it. Yeah, Will said, yeah, I was just making sure I understand everything. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's straightforward, right? There's a checklist right there, everything that we're looking at. Um, the trade didn't line up, so we decided not to take it. And also the TP stop loss was a little far out. So if you look over here at 716, it was for a buy right there. So we would have taken it if it was a sell, but it wasn't. The sell here would have hit though. So if you look over here at 716, um, the trade would have played out perfect. So I mean, yeah, if you wanted me to mark it up for you, I could mark it up for you right there. It still played out perfect right there for 80 points. All right, guys. So I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, I mean, feel free to hit me up on Discord. If you guys want access to the algo, I'm going to extend the the testing phase a little bit longer. So if you guys want to test it out, I mean, you guys can see the power of the algo here. I'm not going to extend it out too far though. So, get it while you can. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, hit me up. If you guys are interested in the algo, let me know. There's only so many people here, so I don't mind sharing it with who's here right now. Um, but yeah, that's about it. So we'll come back tomorrow fresh, guys. I'm gonna have my list of trades by tomorrow, and then we'll pick back up and continue on with this trading week.